Talking about After She Wakes, also known as When She Wakes. This one is written and directed by David Arthur Clarke. Now, this is a horror movie that involves kind of sleep disorders, sleep paralysis and things like this. And we've actually seen quite a few movies deal with this, this kind of situation throughout the last few years. I've actually reviewed a number of them on the channel. And here we have another one. So what's the setup? Well, the movie focuses on this woman who is living alone with her daughter. Now, in the past, she has had a car accident with herself, her daughter, her young baby, and her husband. Now, the young baby was killed in this accident, and she's haunted by because she was driving, she's haunted by the thought of it. Now, she may have slept at the wheel, and this may have caused the issue. The husband is now kind of separated, so she is living with this daughter, and both her and the daughter are both having issues sleeping. Now, there may well be some type of presence here in this movie that is torturing both mother and daughter. Now, is it just, sleep paralysis? Is it some type of sleep deprivation that's getting to these people? Is it some type of maybe demonic entity which seems to be kind of haunting these two females, or is it something else? You have to watch the movie to find out. So what do we think? What works first of all? Okay, I think the best thing about this movie for me was some solid acting. I actually felt like we really did feel this sense of guilt from this mother who feels responsible for the death of the young baby, and how that can affect a family dynamic. The relationship between the mother, her husband and the daughter. Now, she's worried that obviously the daughter will blame her and things like this, and we have a degree where the daughter's having to try and kind of deal with it and stuff like that. I thought the characters were both very, very well acted and quite well written as well in regard to that kind of dynamic, which I thought was very good. And the idea here, I think, is a solid setup, and you can completely understand why this family is so kind of like messed up, dealing with these kind of issues. And it totally feels like a kind of a realistic situation where you would have this kind of like this massive shadow overhanging this family. So you can understand why they're having sleep problems. Now, I think what the director here is trying to do is, because we are dealing with sleep issues, some of the sequences almost feel kind of dreamlike and surreal, artistic at times. And I think the movie does do a good job of portraying that kind of that dreamlike sort of state and things like that. We'll have a few kind of false starts and things like that. So that is on one hand a good kind of idea, but on the other hand, I have to say the movie comes across as quite confused. As an audience member, I feel that the movie's narrative is somewhat lost in its artistic display of sleep deprivation effects. Because it throws these kind of like these sequences, these dreamlike sequences, and these kind of weird, surreal images at you in quite frequently. But the problem is that the narrative gets lost in this, and we see kind of like some flashbacks and things like that as well. So it's not all told in a kind of a linear format. But the story ultimately suffers for it because it just gets confused and feels convoluted. I have to say as well, there are some logic issues here for me about what's happening, considering what ultimately happens with this kind of this character and what she witnesses. For example, there's a sequence where she's watching a video on her daughter's phone, and she sees something fairly disturbing, and it's plain. This is not like a dream that she's remembered. She's watching this on the phone. But it seems to be dismissed, to be honest with you. She speaks to her daughter about it, but outside of that, it just is dismissed, and it's like, well, you've clearly got evidence of something going on the phone. So why is it just kind of not mentioned again, really? It just seems crazy to me, and it's just one of these things like, oh, you know, it's a movie decision. We don't want it to kind of be realistic. We just want it so we can have this plot element and then move on through the plot. And it's just like, again, I've said it 1,000 times in these reviews, what I want to see is realistic depictions of how people react to things, and this isn't. I have to say as well, the movie has a stinger at the end, and it's just like, oh God. And let me tell you, it's one of those the oldest kind of like FU ending in the book, and I think that will be quite annoying to people. To be honest with you, I think, good acting aside, the story just gets completely messed up in this convoluted movie that is confusing and is too concerned with kind of looking kind of artistic and kind of surreal than to tell a kind of a good story. And although the movie has some good ideas and elements and good acting in it, I feel as a film, as a piece of narrative entertainment, it just gets completely lost in the shuffle. And therefore, I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.